In the name of Lord Jesus Christ, we shall continue our study in the book of Nehemiah. So this is our 7th class. As we mentioned yesterday, that there are 3 stages. There are 3 stages in the book of Nehemiah. The first stage is the breakthrough from something that might deem impossible, from being very passive and wait for someone to do something, until a breakthrough means that you stand up and decide to make a differences. Okay, so from chapter 1 to chapter 4 is the breakthrough by taking a difficult route, turning the impossible to possible, able to mark a different journey to receive different reward, to bear different fruits at the end. And then we enter into the second stage. Second stage is that what you have acquired already, that you are able to preserve the fruit, fortify. So not only they have to deal with the completion of the war, physical war, now they need to also restore the spiritual war in the heart of the Israel, in the heart of the people. It's easy to build a physical war, but it's much more difficult to restore the spiritual war. That's the second stage. We will, and the third stage, we will leave it for tomorrow. The third stage is the continuation or the preserve, because at the end, tomorrow we will talk about that after Nehemiah left for some time, and when he came back, he was in shock to find that they actually went back to the old way. So in the third stage, that Nehemiah need to return and redo to start the reformation. So able to finish the race, able to endure to the end, is the third stage that's counted for our success in building the city of Jerusalem. Before we continue with our lecture, I took some time to read through your homework, and I'm very glad to find that most of your homework are well done. Not very lengthy. Most of you only write 1 paragraph, but in fact, I don't need lengthy answer. I need to see a thoughtful answer. And thank God, what I see in your answer, at least what different students provide different answer. I'm very fine with that, because that means you did contemplate, you did give some thought about you did giving some thought regarding to the question that we ask. I would like to provide my 2 cents regarding to the differences between the decision of Nehemiah versus that of Ezra. So in the homework, we talk about Ezra. He said he feel ashamed. He feel ashamed to ask for the help from the king. And in here, as we see that Nehemiah, he got no problem. Then just when I just told the king, I'm going to Jerusalem, and you got to help me. Can you give me this paper so that I can go and I can just take the timber, take the log, take whatever I want in order to build the city of my forefather. So the question that we have is why? Why are there such distinctive differences between their decision? And is there right? Is there wrong? Most of your answer is there's no right, there's no wrong, which I believe, which I believe is correct, because that's how I feel too. When we read the Bible, instead of always looking, always searching in the Bible and trying to picking out fault. This is no good, that is no good, this is a mistake. Instead of trying to picking out faults, we read the Bible so that we can learn. So then here, whatever the decision that they made according to their best knowledge of God and according to their faith. So the most important thing is for Nehemiah not to judge Ezra, and for Ezra not to make fun of Nehemiah. Nehemiah can say to Ezra, you are not very smart. You should just ask for help. Ezra can laugh at Nehemiah. You are so weak, you little faith. Why don't you rely on God? That defeats the whole purpose. So the most important thing is no one compare themselves so that they get to mock other people. Just like today, when a person is feeling ill, a person was sick, then perhaps some member might see doctor. Some members say they will rely on prayer. Either way is fine. And both ways demonstrate. Both ways are able to demonstrate their faith. The one that see the doctor, they kneel down and pray and ask the Lord to grant the wisdom to the doctor, so that the doctor give the right, able to make the right decision. For the surgeon, you pray to the Lord so that the Lord will steady the hand of the surgeon, so that you don't hear oops during the operation. Okay, so you know what? That's also a prayer, a reliance of faith. Even it's done by the doctor, but in your heart, you know all is in the hand of the Lord. That's very fine. That's faith. But if you want to put away all, if you decide that you are not going to see a doctor, you're just going to rely on prayer. No medicine, no doctor. That's your choice. If you have the faith, then go for it. It's your choice. The most important thing is, just because you do not see a doctor doesn't make you extra holy or extra religious, so that you get to make fun of people who decide to see doctor. Otherwise, that's not the faith toward the Lord. It becomes the self-righteousness. Okay? You do that not because you trust in God. You do that because that make you look more holy than others. So be very careful. But the most important thing is whether you choose to be like Nehemiah or you choose to be like Ezra. Whatever the choice that you made, either way is fine. The most important thing is you are ready to face the result, whatever the outcome is. Whatever the outcome is, you say amen. Whatever the outcome is, you accept it, okay? Without grumble and complain. That's how we. So that's my view from the question that was given in the homework. And now let's continue to Nehemiah chapter 6. Sorry, I don't wait because I am under the assumption that all of you finish reading the whole book of Nehemiah already. So we tend to go a little bit faster in the class. So yesterday we talked about the three enemies. We talked about Sanballat, Tobiah, and Geshem. So we talk about their possible spiritual representation, in hindering, in opposing you and I to build the wall in our heart. So we touch upon number one, compromising. Number two, being number two, giving in into lustful desire. And number three, fear of self, a lot of self-centeredness, selfishness. Okay? So all these three present a great danger or a great opposition in our generation today. Compromise, you see that every day. That your friend outside in the society, they keep on telling you it's okay. You don't need to be so serious. Okay. And further, even worse, that the lustful desire. The lustful desire is probably the number one challenge. For our generation, for your generation today. Because with all the advancement in technology, basically, we are seeing Satan in everyone's house easily. As I said to you, sometimes I wonder when the young people, the young generation, they told me that they are having this super fast computer, super big TV screen that was hooking up to their computer in their own room, and they have the super fast fiber optic internet. You know that as when I hear that, it always goes through my mind. Why? Oh, of course I know why. You want something faster because you are not paying for it. It's easy because it's free for you. Let me tell you, if you are the one that need to pay the bill, and then you realize by having a high-speed internet costs you $30 a month, but you need to pay $120 for fiber optic, and out of your bank, you are the one paying it. Oh, I'm sure many of you will say, wait. Am I paying 4 times more for the speed that I don't really use? I don't know. The only reason that you enjoy so much of your super fast internet is because you're not paying for it. Okay. Other than that, there's no reason. I really don't know. Are you like opening a huge international corporation that you are always like downloading gigabytes of data, of the financial data of your client? No, you are doing nothing. You just used to play games. Okay. So no, please don't tell me you use that for homework. You don't need fiber optic for homework. I am very certain about it. Okay. But at the same time, by the way, if it's not your decision that your parents or your father needs it, then you are okay. Then that's very fine. That's very fine. Yeah, they have to pay it, right? So what I'm saying is, in the old days, you probably do not know. In the old days, there's something called dial-up, like 33.6K, 33.6K. They have those dial-up that you hook up the modem to the. You take the phone line, hook up to the modem, and connect it to your computer in order to use internet. You have no idea what I'm talking about. So in order to do that, you need to do dial-up. You dial a number, and then you hear those giga, like the big noise, and then finally you hook up to internet. Ooh, so excited! And then the next thing that you know is someone was very angry because your mother's friend tried to call her, but you occupy the phone line. So you get yelled at. So what happened is those things in the old days, those things were super slow. I was just talking. Remember, I was talking to one of also another member. We were talking about the old days, the good old days, when we were like using those super slow internet. And I still remember one of the comment that he made. He's like, with that kind of internet, you can't even you want to, you can't even defile your eyes. You can't. Not that you don't want to, but you just can't, because there's no mean. You want to download a picture of, something that you shouldn't see. So you are like, sweating, excited. No one is around. You're in your own room. And then you click download, or you click show the photo. And then you see like, da, da, da. And you're like, I'm seeing the hair now. I'm seeing the hair now. After 20 minutes, you get lucky if you get to the eyebrow. Okay. So, then you look at underneath about the like download speed, and it says 3 hours and 24 seconds, 24 minutes counting. And usually, most of the time, you just say, you just like forget it. Yeah, it's like a bucket of cold water poured on you, and you're like, forget it, and you walk away. You go out and play basketball. So, I know we are in different generation. There is no way for you to go back to use the dial up, even you want to. But what I'm saying is, be very careful, young generation, especially in NYTS, in high school SSC, now even in junior high, in J1 SSC, we are seeing more and more Q&A about the curiosity of lustful desire. It become a very, very common Q&A questions, asking about how far is too far, is this sin, is that sin? It really worry the workers in the church. So instead of pursuing for holiness, instead of dreaming big for the Lord, now the young generation only want to know, how far can I go before I die? Or the young generation keep on asking, is it sin? Is it sin? Is it sin against God? Let me ask you one question. How many of you been in Great Canyon? Raise your hand. Okay. How many of you have stand at the edge of the cliff in Great Canyon? Okay. How come all girls? All right. Man, this generation grew up pretty crazy. Okay, what I am trying to say is, when you stand at the cliff in Great Canyon, that is a deep drop all the way, and then you keep on asking me, is it against the law? Is it against the law? There's no sign, right? You know that when you walk around when you walk around Grand Canyon, you do not see a sign say it is against the federal law to jump off the cliff. There's no such a sign. So are you going to ask me, is it against the law? If not, I'm going to jump. It doesn't make any sense for you to keep on asking me, is this a sin? Is that a sin? It doesn't make any sense when you know so well that God asks you and I to pursue for holiness. Pursue for holiness. But you only want to know, can I take one more step? Is it okay for me to take one more step so that I can fall over to the cliff? Ask yourself what kind of question that you are asking, or what kind of mentality that you are having. And you are jeopardizing your spiritual life, your glory to serve for the Lord, and you are asking yourself to live in regret for the rest of your life. Is that the question that you want to ask me? Can I can I live in regret for the rest of my life? You know, I really don't know how to answer, because why is your decision based upon my answer, whether it's a sin or not? If I tell you, oh, I'm not sure, or if I tell you maybe not so serious, then what? You feel that you are getting a permit, you are getting a permission, so that you can go and defile yourself? You should know better than that. Instead of asking, where is the line? Where is the edge of the cliff? Can I just, probably just put 1 foot over and see if I will fall over? Why are you keep on tempting? Why are you keep on testing God? So instead of trying to find the line, you walk away, far away, not even close, so that you survive. Okay. Well, anyway, now let's so we touch upon the 3 enemies, and we also address upon the methods. So the method, the first one we see is that they want to cut down the head. They want to cut down the head by doing harm to Nehemiah, by taking him or inviting him to this place that nobody really there, no one were there. So when you put yourself in a more vulnerable location, the chances that you're going to get hurt, you're going to get hurt. Okay. And at this time, you do not go and complain and ask God, why, God, why did you not, how come you did not protect me? When you choose to put yourself in danger, then you do not get to complain and ask, how come God did not preserve you? For you choose the route and you deal with the consequence. Okay, that's the first one. Number 1, we talk about the rumor. Yes, in the journey of this life, in serving the Lord, soon or later, it's inevitable that you will find moments of discouragement. There will be times that you feel seriously hurt from something that people say. You feel that you are discredited, or you feel that after all you have done, people show no recognition for your effort. Or just pure rumor. People talk about you on things that you have never done, and you try to explain, you try to clarify. But the worst thing is that you never do it. You want to, and you voice for yourself, and nobody ever believe you. So yes, there will be moment that you feel so lost, or you feel that your heart were broken and you just want to walk away. That's the power of rumor. So number 1, please, brothers and sisters, do not be the one that's spreading the rumor. You might think it's just something funny to pass around. Oh yeah, I heard something. Let me pass to the next person. No, I don't intend to do any harm. Let me tell you, a lot of people, they feel this way and they do it in this way. It becomes what? It becomes cyberbullet and cost people's life. You might think it's just funny to share. You might think that it's not a big deal to pass things around. You might say, hey, I don't have any bad intention. I don't mean to hurt. But that doesn't justify your action. Okay, so number 1, please make sure we do not become the one that inflict the harm, that cause the devastation upon others. Okay, they are things worthy to share. They are things only gratify your spirit of gossip. Okay, so there's a big differences. Okay, caring and gossiping might seem very similar, but they are very different in the eyes of the Lord. Okay, I still remember I heard this is regarding to my grandfather. So my grandfather, he also served as the church pastor after he believed in TJC. But there was a time that he was misaccused. He was misunderstood, or he was accused for something that he had never done. And he tried to explain, he tried to clear his name, but unfortunately, when he tried to explain, people condemn him for making excuse. When he tried to clear his name, but nobody listened and nobody believed. And he was so devastated, he was so discouraged, that he actually became very sick. Very sick to the brink of death. He was on the bed, unable to eat, unable to sleep. Nowadays, you probably depression, insomnia, all this mental distress that you are familiar with. That he feel. That he went to the doctor. Several doctors checked him, but they found nothing, because now it's a mental illness or a spiritual issue. So physically, he was very okay. The doctor was unable to find anything. But mentally, he was just unable. He was just losing all his strength, laying on the bed whole day, losing appetite, unable to eat, unable to sleep. And he just keep on he just laying on the bed and keep on playing the message in his mind, say, why don't you guys believe me? Why don't you guys listen? I never, that he was like playing all those repeatedly in his mind, and in devastation. So let me tell you, rumor, gossiping can kill a person. So you could kill a person by passing faulty message around for your own pleasure. Okay. But thank God that the Lord has mercy on him. So one day, as he was laying there in great distress, and suddenly a powerful, mighty voice, just like a thunder, that just burst to his ear, for his hearing, a huge echo, huge sound. And the sound says, hark, or listen, heard, is the words of men. That if you keep on listening left and right, you only hear all this, all this different voice of men. 说听是众人的声音. If you keep on hearing, you care so much, those are all the voice of men. And then the second statement said, belief is only in the words of God. Also, suddenly he said that he was awoke, suddenly woke up from a nightmare, from a bad dream. And all those mental distress, all those broken, feeling of heartbroken and about to die, is like a heavy load will lift from his shoulder. And suddenly he just got up from the bed, and he said to himself, yeah, if you keep on listening, it's all the words, man. But as long as my conscience is clear in the face of the Lord, then I have no fear. It's just like that. Just like that, in that blink of second, he was all healed. He was all okay. So, brothers and sisters, rumor can kill. So please do not allow yourself to become a tool used by Satan. And second, if today, in the journey of your life, whatever it is, either for serving the Lord or for something that really hurt your feeling, you have to remember that we do not lose heart, for we know that at the end, we answer to God and to God alone. So even people might not understand what we are going through. Even people might not be able to help us. And even people hurt us so much. But at the end of the day, we know that God hears our cry, knows our pain, and always here to comfort our heart. Okay, so that's the second thing. Let's look at the third. Let's read chapter 6. Chapter 6. Chapter 6, verse 10. Verse 10, let's go from the middle. Here says that, let's meet together in the house of the Lord within the temple, and let us close the door of the temple, for they are coming to kill you. Indeed, at night, they will come to kill you. Okay. Let's continue to 11. And I said, should such a man as I flee? And who is there such as I who would go into the temple to save his life? Okay. So this is the third. This is the third problem. This is the third method. The third method that Satan used. What is it? He wants you to close the door of the temple to avoid any type of challenge, any type of harm. You know what? When we are facing pressure, you and I, all the same. When we are facing pressure, when we are dealing with obstacles, when we are giving challenges in our life, you have two choices. Every one of us, we always have two choices. You can continue and fight against it, or you can run away to avoid confrontation, to dodge. You all play dodgeball, right? Hui, 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 dodge, dodge, dodge. So you know that when you are giving pressure, you know what, let's just put it easy. When you are giving pressure in participating in Holy Word, you are giving a new task. You are out of your comfort zone. You are not very familiar with it. You are a little bit afraid, or you feel that that's actual burden in your shoulder. And the first thing that comes to your mind is touch. Touch, touch, touch. You touch the ball, so the ball never landed on you. Because, you know, people does that. Oh, no, I'm sorry. I cannot do this. Yeah, I'm not gifting. You know what? I'm not ready. Oh, I still need to pray and count it. You can come up with all the spiritual reasons. But in your heart, you know that very well. You just don't want to do it. Why? Because it's not something that you feel comfortable. So you know what? There are some workers who only want to do something that they are good at. Why? Because you know that by doing something that they are good at, they know they will never make a fool out of themselves. Not only that, they can demonstrate their talent, they can show that they are able. So if you are always doing the same thing in the church and will only do the same thing in the church, you will only do something that you know. Perhaps that's because you do not want to deal with the challenge. You don't like it. But another reaction, a different reaction, is that you might say, but I'm not good at this. I'm not, that I'm afraid. And the person, the council, the RE coordinator who come to you and say, but the church needs you. And your answer is, if this is so, if the church has a need, then let it be. We all know about this the most amazing woman in the Bible, right? So if you look at Gospel Mark, Gospel Luke, if you look at Gospel Luke, this is the most important phrase, one of the most important phrase for you and I today. In Luke chapter 1, verse 38. Luke chapter 1, verse 38. Annabelle Chen. Luke chapter 1, verse 38.
Luke chapter 1, verse 38. Then Mary said, behold the maidservant of the Lord. Let it be to me according to your word. And the angel departed from her.
Thank you. So in here, this is the most important statement in the entire Bible for the workers. Let it be so. Okay. So then here, Mary doesn't like it. You know that yes, for Israeli woman, for the woman in Israel, for throughout the generation, they all dream to be the mother of Messiah according to the prophecy. But nobody expect in this way a virgin giving birth. That was not the way. That was not the way that they thought, or that the way that they expect. Okay. They love to be the mother of Messiah, for it is glorious, but they totally were not prepared for this method, for the will of God to be granted. Okay, that's why Mary were in shock when she said, "How can such a thing happen? That I am not wedded yet. I'm a virgin. How can it be?" And you know that even Mary and Joseph knew that the pregnancy came from the Holy Spirit, but the reason that Mary was so hesitant, because she knew what is coming. All the finger pointing behind her back. Okay? Try. If you were married, try to explain. But this is from Holy Spirit. But angel came and told me, you know that no, Joseph and I, we didn't do anything. But people, yeah, whatever. Yeah, we believe you. Have you run into friends like that when you try very hard to explain, and they say, yeah, we, I should take a picture of my screen, that I have Joseph on my left, and I have Amanda on my right. And when I say this, yeah, and they just look at each other and have this weird smile in their face. And I just feel terrible because I'm the screen in between them. Yeah. So this is what happened. People might acting or pretending, or even they give you this, yeah, we believe you, but from their facial expression, you know that they are just making fun of you. They make fun of you behind your back. Sometimes they have no fear to show that in front of you, that we don't believe you. You sinner. Okay? Your pregnancy is before marriage. You are this and that. A lot of talking behind your back or pointing finger. People look you as a shameful woman, and no one believe what you say. That's very difficult. That's why Mary knew what awaits for her when she was giving such an important and holy commission. But in here, she say, let it be. So brothers and sisters, as we are serving the Lord, in here, people can tell you, that in here, like just like the enemy, the enemy that came, that they tell you, forget it. Hide in the temple and shut the door. You don't open the door, you are safe. Nothing will happen. What does it mean? There are some people with the concept, if I don't do anything, I don't make any mistake. 少做少错，不做不错。The more I do, the more mistake I made. The less I do, the less mistake I made. If I don't do anything, I don't make any mistake. Okay? So there are some people that carry such a concept even into church. But as you should know better, you all know about the parable of the talent, right? Parable of the talent, giving 5 talent, 2 talent, 1 talent. What happened to the one that only has 1 talent? He said, I don't want to make a mistake. The boss is very fierce. I don't, not making mistake. Let me dig it and then bury it and hide it. So the boss was very, very angry. This is what happened. There in the church, there's no such a thing as if I shut the door of the temple, then I am okay. When you choose to shut the temple, you are in the worst scenario, the worst stage. You might be spared. You might be spared physically, but you are damaged permanently in your spiritual life. In the day of woes, if you are fearful, then you lose your strength. Okay. So what did he say? In here, Nehemiah in verse 11 says, such a man as I. A man as I, how can I run away? How can I hide myself? Okay. This is not about being proud. This is not about being proud. This is not like, Nehemiah is not saying, I am a great man. But what he is saying, what he is mentioning is saying is, he knew that he served as an icon, an iconic figure that everyone look up to him. So the moment he decide to retrieve, the moment he decide to yield, to surrender, it basically mark a precedent or an example for all the Israel. So that in the future, when Israelites, they were under great distress, they look at Nehemiah. Well, even the boss ran away. Okay, if he can hide for his life, I'm nobody, I'm hiding my life. Because he was the example. So if you are RE teacher, if you are RE teacher, or if you are serving, you are leading certain leading role in the church, you have to be careful, because you have become such a man that you are unable. So retrieving, hiding in the chapel and shut the door is never an option for you, because every action that you take serve as an example. And do not say, hey, I never asked for it. I never asked them to listen to me or to follow me. Because what happened in Gospel John, this is another familiar story. In John chapter 21, verse 3. John chapter 21, verse 3. Clara?
John 21, verse 3. Simon Peter said to them, I'm going fishing. They said to him, we are going with you also. They went out and immediately got into the boat, and that night they caught nothing.
So see what happened? That he did not ask them to go, but they went with him anyway. For he was the oldest. He served in some kind of leadership. So when he said, I'm going fishing, he did not ask them, say, hey, come with me, let's go. He did not say, let's go fishing. He only said, I am going fishing. But they say, we will join you. So it ended up that one person's choice continuously impacting the herd, the crowd, the group. Okay. So you might be taking that role as well. So do not say to yourself, hey, you know what? I never asked this. I never asked for this. I'm just walking away. Come on. I never asked them to learn from me. I'm just, ready to shut the door of the temple so that I'm just busy. Okay. They might not understand. And the impact is real. The impact is real. In one of a TA meeting, teacher parent meeting, in one of the local church, there was a meeting with the parents. PTA. I was trying to come up with it. PTA, PTM. But so it was also that it was an opportunity for the teachers to show the parents of all the RE work and the crafts, student crafts that have done throughout the semester. At the same time, to have a good conversation to converse with the parents so that they can better work together. So in this PTA, that the parents, the children, and the RE teachers, they were sitting in the same room, having this very comfortable atmosphere, like chit chat about the achievement of the children. And then the teacher, the RE head teacher, say to the parents, yeah, this year we have implement the encouragement for the student to join the evening service, so that they are giving this note, this template, so that they can write sermon note, a sermon note template. So all the students, we take attendance, they will write sermon notes, and by Saturday, the teacher collect them. And then it works out very well. Our attendance of the student attending the evening service become much higher, which is good, which is real, because in the past that the parents doesn't come. The parents just after work, I'm tired. But now, since they implement, the RE department implement such a program, now the student, the children nag the parents. So you know how this work. You know how this work in our generation. Whatever the children want, the parents give to them, including faith. So when the children say, "I need to go to church. I need to go to church," my RE teacher said, "Go to church," and the parents say, "Oh, okay, let's all go to church." Okay. So you know what? It was a very nice meeting. Everybody very happy. That RE teacher said, "Yeah, did you see all those sermon notes? We have high participation, high attendance of students now attending evening service. The notes was written very well. Also, everybody happy, right? Until one of a student, out of nowhere, just just burst out a statement, say, I come for every evening service, but I never see my RE teacher." Oh, it was such an awkward moment. There was a dead silence in the classroom. There was a dead silence. It was it was very, very awkward and uncomfortable for all the RE teacher, because as much as they encourage the students, but then themselves do not come for the evening service. Of course, they might have different reasons. You know that after the meeting, or after the meeting, some RE teacher, and they try to they say, "Oh, but I have on Wednesday evening, I'm taking classes in college, yeah. Like, oh, I'm taking a part-time job. Oh, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. I get off work very late." That doesn't matter. That because for you and I, for adults, I can give you this. Oh yeah, I understand. I feel you. I understand. But the problem is, your children, your students. You think by telling them that would make a differences? They don't. The only thing they know is, my teacher told me to come, I come, but they never show up. So that's the only thing they understand. So I know this is putting extra burden on you, but in here, please note, Nehemiah could choose an easy way by hiding himself for protection or for safety. But he said, "A man such as I, how can I run away?" So whatever he said, you should say the same. A man such as a woman such as you, how can I run away and abandon my sheep? Let's all pray in silence. Hallelujah. In the name of Lord Jesus Christ, we shall continue study from the book of Nehemiah. Supposedly, the original plan is in the previous class, we shall complete chapter 7. But it is what it is, that you can plan, but yeah, you can plan all you want. Things might not happen accordingly. Very quickly, we want to read chapter 6. verse 12. We only want to read a little bit. Here says that he pronounced his prophecy against me because Tobiah and Sanballat has hired him. Okay. Okay, so might as well just read the whole thing. Let's go to verse 18. Verse 18. For many in Jew were pledged to him because he was the son-in-law. Okay. All right. So as we mentioned from the beginning of chapter 6, that we are seeing enemy. We are seeing enemy of Israel. Enemy of Nehemiah. We are seeing enemy against building the holy city. So external attack. So now we are seeing external enemy. Sanballat, Tobiah, and Geshem. We are seeing external enemy. But at the same time, we are seeing internal attack, including some prophet and prophetess among the people of Israel, including noble and officials among the people of Israel. Okay, so now we are seeing another type of enemy, which is internal. Internal enemy that also help to oppose the work of God. Okay, they become the enmity of God. So they were Israel. They were Jewish people. They were the people who returned to help to build the holy city. They were the people who returned, or the people who dwell in the holy city to begin with. But they then become the enemy, the opposition of God. So external attack is expected, right? Because you know that your enemy doesn't want you to succeed. But now we are looking at internal attack, and the internal attack including from the prophet, prophetess, noble, and official. Why? Why were the people of God betraying their faith and betraying their race? Okay. There are two possibilities. There are two reasons that we see in here. Number one in here says that because they were hired. They were hired by Sanballat and Tobiah. They were bribed. Okay. For some benefit, so for some personal interest that they gave in, they surrender their personal integrity. And they also surrender. Well, basically, they betray their country. They betray their faith. They betray their, number one, they betray their faith toward God. Number two, they betray their country, representing by Nehemiah. And number three, they betray their responsibility as a prophet and prophetess. Why? Bribery. Personal agenda, personal benefit, personal profit can sometimes blind a person to do what is harmful internal. Oh, that's the first thing just for you to keep in mind. Number two is marriage. Here says that because they were related by marriage to the to the family of Sanballat now. Okay, and here says that the many Jews were pledged to him because he was the son-in-law. Okay, that that's why in verse 19 say they always say good things about Tobiah. All right, so now we have the royalty or noble or high class official who were intermarry with the enemy in order to form the bond and stronger alliance. Why? Because for this kind of family, like high class family, they always plan for what if. Very smart. They always plan for what if. What if that Nehemiah fail? What if that the king does not like a city of Jerusalem. What if? So they always need to prepare a back door for their family to flee in the time of destruction or in the time of the worst scenario. So at this time, what did they do? What they did is they joined alliance with the enemy by forming marriage relationship, so that now they are related. They are able when things go south, at least they got Tobiah, they got Sembala that can bail them out. But if things goes well, if the things go, that's why they were embracing both. They were so smart. If things goes well, they were the leader in Jerusalem, and they will surely be benefit from it. If things fail, collapse, go south, they are related to Sembala and Tobiah, who will bail them out, provide them an exit. So this is what happened. This is the people that we see in here, the noble, they were ready. They were ready to harvest the fruit either way. Either way, they want to win either way. All right. So this is a reminder for you and I. Why would a person become the enemy of God or become the traitor that betraying the church? Two possibilities, two reasons. Number one, bribery. In order for you to fulfill your self-agenda, in order for you to gratify your own desire, you might make decision that's harmful to church but benefiting to yourself. I don't know if I have any real case or any example for you. There's one, but I'm not sure because I was a bystander. I was an outsider. When I was young, in your age, I was young. I was traveling, and I went to one church, and it just happened that after the afternoon service, they were having a congregational meeting, last minute congregational meeting, talking about construction, church construction. And I was sitting there, and I was in your age. I was a visitor in that local church, and I saw one council so emotionally shouting at the other council in front of the whole congregation. And I was like, what in the world is this? Okay. They were talking about because the church want to rebuild. The church want to rebuild, but they are lacking of fund, lacking of money. So one council bring up the proposal: why don't we sell the land to the construction company, so that exchanging for fund to build the building upon the land, and we only need to pay monthly rent to the construction company who owns the land now. Okay. Now we have the chapel. We only pay monthly usage fee, and they will pay for all the construction money. So then that's when the whole thing just turned, because one of the council in front of the congregation was shouting so fiercely, in such an anger toward the other council who brought up this proposal. And at this time, my auntie, I went to visit my aunt. My aunt just grabbed me by my shirt and say, say that, little kid, don't look at this. Don't look at, just grab me. And I was like, I want to see the whole thing. I want to see the drama. I want to see the whole thing. She just grabbed me, pulled me, and dragged me home. She just dragged me home. I was like, oh man, I missed the finale. Yeah. But then after I came back, because that was the first time I visited the place, and my aunt just looked at me, my auntie just looked at me, and then she told me what was the deal behind it. At first, of course, my first impression was my impression toward the council who was shouting in anger was very negative. I was like, that's not a very religious move. As a council shouting in such a loud voice against another worker of God, that's not right. And then later I learned, my auntie told me, of course, why? Because the one that brought up the proposal, who seems so calm, who seems so, how should I say, very calm when even when shouted in front of others, like he was like a demonstration of the virtue of patience and love, like all these things. My auntie said the council that was very calm sitting there being yelled at, the one that brought up the proposal, because he want to sold the land of the church to the construction company owned by his cousin. So there are like a lot of hidden agenda behind it. He brought, because the church located in an extremely good place. So the land is not the building that worth anything, it's the land. That land is in the most potential location. And now the council brought up the idea, let's just sell the land. We keep the church, but we sell the land. So by exchanging the ownership of the land to his cousin, then the cousin will take out the money to rebuild the church, to build the church upon the land. So you will have a chapel, but you don't own the land, which means they can cancel the contract. They can ask you to leave anytime. So you know what? The reason I brought this is because if you only look at the surface, you cannot tell who is good, who is bad, who is, voicing out of worry for the church of the Lord, or who is playing games and have a lot of hidden agendas. So number one, if you don't know, don't make judgment because you do not know. Number two, that when we serve in the church, be careful. If you have a lot of hidden agenda, that make you the enemy of God. Okay, just like in here, they prophesied, the priest, the prophet and prophetess, that they were blinded because they were hired from the worker of God. They were hired to become the tool of evil. Okay, that's why when we were at TTP, when we were taking classes in TTP, we were also being warned by the instructor. Be very careful. Be very careful, especially when they are people who always want to treat you, take you out, Japanese cuisine, take you out, eating lavish all the time. Of course, some members, they do that out of love, sincere love, but not all. So number one, we should not take advantage upon the love of the member. Just because they have a lot of love for the Lord, so they're willing to treat you good, doesn't mean you need to or you should accept all the time and take advantage of it. That's the first point. Number two, be careful of who you eat with and why they are treating you. Okay? Some are out of genuine God-loving heart. Some because they want you to be on their side or to be used by them. Okay, so that's why in the Bible it also say when you are eating, is it eating with the king? Take a knife and leave it in the throat. Be careful what you say. Be careful who you are eating with. Be careful of your gesture, because you might be used to become a weapon of evil, a tool for the evil. Just like in here, like the prophet and prophetess. And the second thing is by connection and relationship. Okay, we all have friends. Well, I hope you do. Okay, so we all should have friends If not friends, at least we have some family. Okay, we have family, we have relatives. So another thing is sometimes we show favoritism to people we like or people who are connected to us. We tend to treat them differently, or we tend to be nicer to them. We tend to do things differently. Be very careful. Do not allow yourself to be influenced by the social relationship and applied it into your decision in the church. Okay, if whatever is right is right, whatever is wrong is wrong. For example, today, if you are voting, like you all are eligible to vote in the church in congregational meeting, I believe. So, all right, some of you shook your head. Some of you look very puzzled. You have no idea. Okay, that's okay. So most of us are eligible to vote in congregational meeting. When you are casting your vote, the moment that you cast your vote is the mentality says a lot toward the Lord. Because at the end of the day, by the judgment day, the Lord will ask you, why are you casting your vote on the person who hardly show up in the church? You say, because that's my cousin. Because that's my best friend. Because you know what? He treat me for ice cream all the time. Then you are in great trouble. Because you are no different than here. You are the enemy of God. Instead of put God first, you put your connection, your relationship, your friendship ahead of God. Okay? That's another danger. But you know what? What we are saying is, when you vote, or when you choose the RE teacher, if you are the head teacher, you are the coordinator, you make your decision based upon what is the best for the church. If your best friend, if your relative that you knew very well happen to be the best candidate, God-loving, zealous, working hard, care about the student, by all means, please vote for the person. Do not say, that's my relative. I don't vote for my relative. Or I'm very righteous, very just. No, it's never about you. You vote whatever is the best for the church. It has nothing to do with your relationship, connection. You only care about the best for the church. Then you can keep a clean conscience in front of God. Okay, so we are in great trouble. Let's go to chapter 7. All right, speed through chapter 7. Now let's read chapter 7 from verse 1 to verse 3. Nehemiah chapter 7 from verse 1 to verse 3. May I ask Chris Wu?
Verse 1. Then it was when the wall was built and I had hung the doors, when the gatekeepers, the singers, and the Levites had been appointed, 2. That I gave charge of Jerusalem to my brother Hanani, and Hananiah the leader of the citadel, for he was a faithful man and feared God more than many. 3. And I said to them, do not let the gates of Jerusalem be opened until the sun is hot, and while they stand guard, let them shut and bar the doors, and appoint guards from among the inhabitants of Jerusalem, one at his watch station and another in front of his own house.
Thank you. So then here now, in chapter 7, it began as the war was completed. Now the war was done. But the war was done. That's not the end of it. So building the wall or completion of the wall is not the end of the project. It's not the end of the work. Why? Because now in here, there are a few things that you must do after you complete building the wall. Number 1, make sure that you put the door. All right. So number 1, I hung the doors. Number 2, I put the gatekeepers. Number 3, I placed the singers. Number 4, the Levite being appointed. Okay. So after you finish the construction of the wall of the holy city, do not walk away. Do not walk away. You need to make sure that you put the door. Why? Because a city without a wall, then is no different than city without the wall. If you do not have the gate, sorry, a city without the door is no different than a city without the wall. Because now the wall itself, the door, the location where the door is, the gate, very much is still a gap. It's still a gap. So now you finally, Nehemiah spent all this time putting all this money, putting all this timber that basically he robbed from the king. Now the city wall was so beautifully established after all the efforts, and then you do not have any gate, no doors, no gate. So when the enemy came, you think that the enemy will be so foolish while they see a huge opening where the gate is supposed to be. When they see a huge opening, and they were like, nah, we're going to take down the wall, and then bumping their head against the wall, try to knock it down. No, they will just enter through the gate, through the opening. So what does that tell you and I? As we are restoring our faith, returning to God, want to once again build our spiritual life, make sure that you put up the door. What is the door? The door is to filter what allows to come in, what does not allow to come in. So it's a mechanism of filtering so that all the, that the wall is, once the wall erect, nothing comes in. But however, they are good things, they are bad things. If you build the entire city with only the wall, but no gate, what happened? You do not have a city, you have a prison. Okay? So a city must have a gate, must have a doors. And the purpose of the door is to filter. Let the good come in, let the bad stay out. That's the purpose of the gate. So now you build your faith, you restore the wall, but then you need to implement a proper system, a mechanism to make sure that you are able to discern right and wrong, good and bad, and you are able to filter all the filth outside, the filtering system. In my house, I have a three fish tank, and they all install. Two of them were installed with filtering system. Why? Because you want to keep all the filth away so that they do not re-enter into the system. But the third fish tank outside in the backyard, there is no filter system, because that tank is not really for fish. That tank was more like for the plants. And let me tell you, without the filter system and living in the backyard, facing the direct sunlight, the whole tank is green. I do have some fish in there. I have some guppy. I have some goldfish. The one that I used to, test for testing water. If they survive, means the water is good. So no. I did that 3 years ago. Those are the goldfish I bought 3 years ago to test, and the survival one. So I kept them until today. So and what forget about the fish. The point is that without the filtering system, that whatever happened in the tank stay in the tank. all the algae, that it was just, but the whole because the purpose for that tank is for plants, for growing plants. So algae is okay. All those things without filter is okay. But the problem is, if you are a fish living in that environment, that you cannot even see what is in front of you. You know that just when I put my finger into the tank or put my head into the tank, I cannot see it through the glass. I have no idea where my hand is. That's how green the water is without the filtering system. So that's the purpose of the city gate, so that you are able to discern right and wrong, good and bad. There is a ruler, a measuring rod in your heart to tell you, now this person cannot come in. Now this person is a fugitive. Lock him out. Hang him down. So you know what? That's why in Revelation chapter 11, he says that a measuring rod has been given to me to measure. That's the city gate. And what is that measuring rod? It's the Bible. It's the Bible. So make sure that we are well versed, that we have the wisdom of God, and we also have the courage to put up the gate, so that we are able to, number one, discern good and bad. Number two, having the strength to filter out the waste that never allow those evil to enter into the city. Okay, that's the first. Number two, in here, not only you need to put up the gate, but you also need to have a gatekeeper. Gatekeeper means constant watch. Constant watch. Okay. You have the gate, but if no one is using it, then what's the point? The enemy come, the gate is closed. Then what? Then they just put up the ladder, or they just find their way to climb the wall. But if no one is guarding, no one is watching, even there's a gate, even there's a wall, but if no one is stopping the enemy eventually comes into the city anyway. It might be a bit more difficult. All right. So for those who know the Bible, it might be a little bit more difficult for Satan to enter their heart. However, if they are not on constant watch, constant examination, like what David said. David said to the Lord, look inside of my heart and see if there's any fault. That's the gatekeeper. Gatekeeper is a constant self-examination. All right. Self-evaluation, constant evaluation, always taking the Bible and measure our heart to see that if we are still in accordance toward the teaching of the Bible. That's the gatekeeper. Is a real person that watch the gate, which means that is you who constantly, tentatively checking on yourself. Number three is the singer. Singer, you know that when they built the Holy Temple, Solomon placed the one that sing praises toward the Lord in the Holy Temple. So now Nehemiah, after the door, after the wall, after the door, after the gatekeeper, he also put singer and also Levi. Singer is for praise. Levi is for servitude. So in here says that if we want to have a full and complete city of Jerusalem, number one, you must build up the wall against the enemy. Number two, you must put up the door to filter out the evil. Number three, you must have the gatekeeper to constantly proactively examine yourself. Number four, you must be reminded by the love of God so that you are able to sing praises. That's what Apostle Paul said. Apostle Paul said, the love of God compels me so that I do not live for myself, but I live for the Lord who died for me. All right. For the love of God moved me so. And that's called praises. A person only give, genuine praises only come from a heart filled with God's love. We're not talking about people who talk about, oh, thank God as a slogan. They only say that with their mouth, but you never enter through, you never come through their heart. It becomes just a slogan, a 口头禅. Yeah, thank God, thank God. But you ask them, what are you thanking God for? I don't know. I'm just saying. So, the genuine praises come from a God-loving heart. Why? Why God-loving heart? Because a person is moved, constantly be reminded by the love of Jesus. So it's not about how good you sing. Still remember when I was young. Well, I'm not sure if Pastor Sam still remember. But when I was in was I in high school, college? High school. And Pastor Sam is even younger. At that time, a few family from the New York and New Jersey, we went back to Taiwan in the same year. Then we figure the parents, they figured that, hey, since we are all heading back to Taiwan, why don't we go and visit the Aboriginal church? We contact the parents, they contact Taiwan GA, and Taiwan GA arrange a tour, a few days, I'm not sure, 3-4 days visitation to the Aboriginal church, the mountain church, the mountainside church in Taiwan. It was one of the best memory in my life. I still remember that the church that we visit, there are several churches that we visit, and one of the church that we enter, we see on the whiteboard, on the blackboard, they wrote with welcome American members visiting us. Okay, member from America, member from United States. But as we are entering to the chapel, they were like, hi, hallelujah, clapping. But at the same time, I hear murmuring saying, they are not white people. They are not American. They are just like us, Chinese. They were under the impression, members from US, like, American, until Pastor Sam came in. And they were like, oh, there's one. Because even until today, Pastor Sam still very, very white skin. I'm sorry, I'm no offense. I don't know how to describe pale skin. But when he was young, it's even he entered and all the members got excited. All the Aboriginal members got so excited. Wow, American. But anyway, don't tell him I say that. But I still remember, because as we were visiting different this is NYTS, which is broadcast through YouTube. Oh. All right. Now let's be serious. So I still remember that as we were visiting different churches, that very often, this is what happened when you visit Aboriginal church, that in the evening, there's always hymnal fellowship. That as we know, a lot of Aboriginal members, their voice is like angelic, amazing angelic song. But out of all the choir, out of all the hymnal time, out of all the beautiful melody that I heard, there's one that I remember the strongest. That because the fellowship is that you want to sing, you just raise your hand and you go up, either by yourself, with your family, or with a few friends. Feel free, taking turns. It was a great time until one elderly brother raised his hand and said he want to sing. But the thing is, his voice was so bad, so broken, so rough. But as he was singing, then the whole chapel all quiet down. The only thing that you hear is the echo of his broken voice. Then everybody start crying. Even after all these years, even by thinking about it, it just, yeah. So it was just quiet, and you start seeing like, tear dripping down from people's eyes. His voice was so bad, broken, out of tune, but that's the first time I understand what does it mean by I sing to you with my life, not my voice. Because he was singing his life. He was singing the love of God. He was singing all these years of experiencing God and how God holding his hand and walk through all the moment of difficulties in life. And that was very moving. So this is the singer that we need, able to sing this kind of praise because their heart are truly touched by the great, amazing love of God. That's also what we need to place in our holy temple. Always be compelled by the love of God. And the last one, Levi. Levi is the servant in the holy temple, holy to the Lord. But Levites, as you all know about the story, so I'm not going to repeat the story. In NYTS, you should know the Bible very well. We all know that originally Levi were cursed, right? Because they slaughter people. They slaughtered the people in the city of Shechem. All right. So that's why Jacob was very angry. So before Jacob died, when he made prophecy about the children's, he mentioned about Simeon and Levi. And they say that they are like, angry child. They are the tool of wrath. They kill for no reason. They kill for no control. So they shall be cursed, and they shall not have any inherited land. But as we know, when did their life change? It happened in the event of the golden calf. We all know that. So Moses was on the mountain, and Aaron was too weak against pressure. So when Israelites were shouting to Aaron, make us a god, make us a god. And then Aaron made them a golden calf. We all know this. So when Moses came down from the mountain, he was furious and he shouted for those who side with God, come to me. And the Bible says the tribe of Levi gathered behind Moses. And then they took the sword, obeyed the command of Moses. They took the sword and start killing their own brothers. So what does it mean by being the Levi? Being the Levi means that you are siding with God. You are siding with God. There was once that I read a story. I'm not sure if it's true, but I think it's a good story. That during the Civil War, the North and South, during the Civil War, the South were winning, the North were retrieving. But in one critical battle, out of nervousness and out of worry, one general asked President Lincoln, President, do you think that God is on our side? Okay, that's a question that the general asked. So posting, the honest app, the president doesn't lie. So after posting for a few moments, that the president replied, he said, whether God is on our side or not, I do not know. And then he continued, he said, I don't know if God is on our side, but I just have to make sure that I am on God's side. Today, God is not the genie in the lamp waiting for your command to serve you. God is not here comply in your desire in order for you to worship him. He is in control. He is the master. So, talking about Levi serving, as we mentioned from lesson number 1, holy work. What is holy work? That a lot of people think that anything that you do in the church is holy work. No. Holy work is the work that you do for the sake of the Lord. You do it for the Lord. Okay, it can happen in the church, it can happen at home, it can happen in school, it can happen at work. For any work that's not done out of a genuine heart for the Lord, that's not holy work, even if it's done in the church. Okay, so now Levi, people who side with God, people who are willing to sacrifice. Here, Moses said, draw your sword and kill the people that you see, including their own brothers. Put God first. That's Levi. So Levi means that you side with God. Levi means that you put God first in your heart. And Levi also means, the Bible says, they have no inheritance, for I, the Lord, is their inheritance. So Levi means that having God is the greatest reward, the greatest inheritance. That's called Levites. So in order for you to have a complete city of Jerusalem, the holy city in your life, you need all of this. You need all, how many? All 5 of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now you need all 5 of them. Okay. City wall, doors, gatekeeper, singer, and Levites. Okay. Now let's go to verse 3. In verse 3, now there are some commands. In here it says there are 3 instruction. Number 1, you do not let the gate of Jerusalem open until sun is hot. That's the first one. Number 2, shut the door and bar the door. Open until the sun. And while they stand guard, let them shut the door and bar. Appoint God from among the inhabitants. Okay, so the first one is, you do not open the door until the sun rise, until the sun is hot, until the bright light shines through the whole city. Number 2, okay, that you need to guard the door, shut the door while someone is still guarding. Okay, and number 3, appoint inhabitants of Jerusalem to watch the station in front of his own house. Okay, so now the instruction, there are 3 instructions. You cannot open the gate in dark. So in the spiritual talk, in the spiritual significance, spiritual meaning for you and I today, that you make sure that you are able to see clearly before you rush to open the gate. Because in dark, while it's still not very clear, especially, you know that the problem is not at the dark. The problem, the thing is, during the late evening, when someone came and tried to when that if you are the gatekeeper, you are guarding the door, and at 2 a.m. pitch dark, that there are a group of people underneath the city wall in front of the city gate and keep on shouting, "Open, we are good people, open, we are good people." The thing is, because you cannot see, so you don't open the gate. But the most dangerous moment is when about 3, 4, or 5, that when the sun is partially rising, that you are actually seeing something. And at this time, you lower your guard, you lower your defense, feeling that you are able to discern, you are seeing. But the problem is that you are seeing but not clear. Then at that moment, you might make decision that you regret for the rest of your life. Okay? You thought they were merchants. They look like merchants from a distance. They look like merchants with the little light that you are seeing. And then you just say to yourself, no problem, they are merchants, we are safe. You open the door, then you find that they were robbers in disguise. And then the city were besieged and burned. So that's why in here says that you do not open the gate until you are able to see so very clear. Okay. So number one is about make sure that you have bright eyesight. Bright. Okay, so that you don't fall into the snare, you don't fall into the trap. The disguise, you know that nowadays Satan disguised himself as the messenger of the light. Okay, talking about, you know that in the old days when they talk about Satan, always described as you know, those like those fearful face, like long teeth, big eyes, and purple countenance, and they come and scare you, right? You don't find that anymore. Did you realize? Because Satan also improvise and upgrade. So, you know, Satan also upgrade himself. You don't find Satan jump out of the air and try to frighten you. Why? Because Satan realized when he does that, he only boosts up your faith. Let me tell you that for those of you who are mediocre in faith, who are like kind of lukewarm, who are barely trying to make it through this NYTS, let me guarantee you, if today that as you stay lukewarm and so annoyed by the class or Pastor Raymond, you're like, oh, Lord, how long? Lord, how long? Okay. And then out of nowhere, as you were taking the break, walking to the kitchen, trying when you open, let me not give you any graphical image. I know that some of you get scared very easily. Let me tell you that if suddenly Satan in this very fearful face just jump and frightening and then scare you, or like shouting at you, what do? Immediately you run back. Then you turn on your screen, and then you start shouting to all the NYTS participants and say, pray for me, pray for me, pray for me. Right? That's the result. So Satan know very well. So Satan doesn't do this kind of thing, but Satan nowadays they upgrade, they kill you, and they kill you slowly. Like how you know, I believe that you all heard the story about cooking the frog. You cook the frog in the cold water, you put the frog in the cold water, and you slowly cook them. So by the time the temperature is too high, it's too late for the frog to jump out. I shared that story once in Africa, and they gave me this, ew! And I was like, don't you guys eat frog? They said, no. I was like, those taste good. Yeah, in some country in Africa, they do not eat frog at all. But anyway, so be reminded, number one, the first one, the second one is very similar. Number one is make sure that you have the bright vision. You are able to see everything clearly. Number two, you shut the door and you bar the door while someone is watching. That's called constant precautionary. Okay. Number one is make sure that your eyes is bright so that you are able to see through the plot of Satan. Number 2, make sure that you are, is rather doing extra work than regret when it's too late. I heard there was a testimony from a brother you probably know, a counselor from the past, that he testified about his marriage. He said that he keep himself holy, that even, for example, when he's giving something to the sister, he makes sure that the sister open her hand and then he drop it so that no touching. That's how far he went. To make sure that he doesn't have any physical contact. It's so interesting. Now I have like Joseph and Amanda looking at each other again. We need to replace. Like I need to get myself out of this in between. It feels so awkward. So I should put their their screen like next to each other. Yeah, so awkward. But that's how far he was willing to go. Okay, but be careful. You know what? Because today there are some social norms that was acceptable, such as shaking hands, even give a pat in the back or give a hug. I know those are socially acceptable in the Western society. But if you are realizing something is not very right in your heart when you do any of those actions, all right, you knew the best. You knew something is not right. Like I was having this heart racing. I was having this intention of accidentally touching, bumping. You have to be very careful because now you are open the gate. Okay, you're opening the gate. So the counselor I knew, when he testified, he said, told the sister, open your hand. So weird, right? And then she rather either drop the coin, drop the key, no touching. Now even when he was introduced to a church sister and in the courtship, that's still no touching. And he explained to the sister why. The sister was feel very weird at first, and a lot of up and downs of uncertainty of how he feel about her. But then the brother took the effort to explain to her of his vow when he was young. Okay, let me tell you, I'm not saying that all of you need to go to that extreme. That's a vow that he made for himself. But I'm telling you that if you have any concern, even nobody know, if you have any doubt, any concern, any sense of uncertainty, rather safe than sorry. That's why in here says that when someone is still guarding the door, you might say, but the daylight is still there. There might be more merchants coming. We can make more money. But in here says that while someone is still watching, rather safe than sorry. That's a second precautionary steps. Number 3, that appoint the people in the city to guard, one in the station, one in front of their house. So what does that remind you and I? You want to guard the house of the Lord, you need to begin by guarding your nearby environment. Start from your house. Way over. Sorry. Okay, we will continue. Thank God, I still got 2 more classes. Let's all pray in silence.
请翻开圣经提摩太后书第2章22节。
Let us look to the Bible. Let us turn to 2 Timothy chapter 2, verse 22.
提摩太后书第2章22节。
2 Timothy 2, verse 22.
去念一遍。
Verse 22, flee also youthful lusts, but pursue righteousness, faith, love, peace with those who call on the Lord out of a pure heart.
好，那上2次呢，我们谈到少年人要逃避的就是私欲。
In the previous 2 sessions, we discussed how the youthful must flee lusts.
这是消极的。那圣经指示我们积极的做法就是要追求公义、信德、仁爱、和平。
And so what the Bible tells us to do instead is to pursue righteousness, faith, love, and peace.
那当然，我们所追求的是跟你们的朋友非信主的人不一样。
But of course, what we pursue is different from our friends and from those who don't believe.
然后我们要追求做对的事情，
We must pursue to do the right thing.
也就是在神的眼中看到是对的。
What is right in the eyes of the Lord?
这个是我们人生要追求的目标。
And this is the goal of our life, which we must pursue.
上次我跟大家做见证说有个姐妹她因为疫情的关系，所以她失去工作，但是她加入教会每个早上在9点钟举行的祷告会，还有读经读圣经的这种活动以后，大概才经过1个多礼拜，感谢主她就找到工作了。
Last session, I shared about a testimony with you all about a sister who had lost her job because of the pandemic. But after she started attending our 9 a.m. morning Bible studies and prayers, she eventually found a job.
感谢主再过几天上个星期四她的先生也找到工作了。
And thank God a few days later, last Thursday, her husband also found a job.
因为她的这位姐妹她找到工作以后，她当然就不能够参加我们的祷告会还有读圣经，但是她的先生这位弟兄们在继续参加我们祷告会还有读圣经。
And of course, after the sister had found the job, she was unable to still attend our 9 a.m. morning Bible reading and prayer, but her husband continued to attend.
所以再过没几天感谢主她的先生也找到工作。
And so thank God a few days later, her husband also found a job.
所以真的，我们只要做对的事情做神所希望我们去做对的事情，那神就帮助我们。
And so truly, if we do the right thing, the thing that God tells us to do, then he will help us.
那这个就是我们人生我们每一天就是要追求做对的事情。
And so in our lives, in every single day of our life, we ought to pursue to do the right thing.
那我们每一天要凭着信心来做对的事情。
And every day we make the right decisions by our faith.
所以我们也要追求信心。
And therefore, we must also pursue faith.
因为这个公义跟信心就是我们日常生活这是的一部分。
Because righteousness and faith are parts of our daily lives.
它引导我们每天怎么去过生活。
And they will guide us how to live out each day of our life.
那今天我们要追求仁爱，追求爱心。
Today, we will discuss how to pursue love.
我们每天也是一样，也是要用爱心来过日子的。
And so every day it is the same. We still should live out our days with love.
那现在的社会是比较自私大家只顾自己的日子
But currently, our society is very self-centered and each person is very focused on themselves.
所以马太福音24章那里也说在末日的日子人的爱心就渐渐冷淡。
And so it tells us in Matthew chapter 24 that in the latter days, the love of many will grow cold.
可是对于我们基督徒来说，我们就是要追求这个爱心。
But for us Christians, we ought to pursue love.
但是这个爱心都是一个心我们知道这个心大家都会画嘛，一个心。
So love is of the heart, and we all know how to draw a heart.
它的心里头是什么颜色就有不同的颜色。
And there are different colors within the heart.
所以根据圣经里头的记载我们这个心这分类大概有4种的颜色。
And according to the Bible, we can categorize the colors of the heart into 4 different categories.
那第一种就是灰色的心灰心。
The first one is a gray heart.
那灰心是什么意思？灰心就是表示说这个人的内心好像寂然不动，好像死人一样，好像死灰就是这没有生命好像石头一样不会有所反应的。
And so what does gray represent? It means that the heart inside is immovable. It is like a dead person. It is made of stone.
所以你们现在有时间的话，您现在在电脑的前面你就拿个 笔记本画这个心然后第一个就是灰心灰色的心
So if you have some time right now, then you can take out your notebook or your laptop and draw 4 hearts. And the first one is a gray heart.
这种心就是代表对人非常的冷漠，这根本就不关心。
And this heart represents that you are very cold towards other people and you do not care about them at all.
就像路加福音第10章那里，主不是说一个故事，这个好的撒玛利亚人的故事。
As it tells us in Luke, the Gospel of Luke, that there is a story of the Good Samaritan.
这个故事大家都很熟悉有一个被打个半死的人他躺在路旁。
And everyone is very familiar with this story, how the one person on the side of the road was beaten half to death.
他受伤的很严重
And he suffered grievous wounds.
他希望有人来帮助他。
And he hoped that someone would come and help him.
他等到远远的地方有一个人来的。
And he waited and waited, and afar off there was someone coming.
那个做祭司
And that person was a priest.
他一定想说哇，很好，这个祭司一定会帮助他的。
Maybe he thought, great, that priest will surely help me.
因为他知道祭司是做什么工作，他祭司是一个宗教的人士
Because he knew what a priest was and he was a leader of the religious community.
所以他想说祭司一定会帮助他。
And so he thought, surely the priest will help me.
结果这个祭司呢，到了以后看一看他就从旁边走过，根本就不理他，
But the priest took a look and then crossed over on the other side.
好像无动于衷，好像是死的，好像就是石头一样，根本就没有反应，对他的受伤，对他的呻吟，对他的哀嚎一点反应，一点动静都没有。
He was like stone. He had no reaction to the man's cries and the wounds and his pain. And he had no reaction at all.
过了不久，再来一个文士也是一样
And not long after, there was a Levite that came by, a scribe.
所以这种心就是灰色的心
And so this is a gray heart.
所以我们不要有这种灰色的心，我们不能够对这种需要帮助的人好像是视而不见，无动于衷。
Therefore, we must not be like these people with the stone heart who do not help those who are in need.
那么第二种心就是黑心，黑色的心。
And the second type of heart is a black heart.
那当然我们不会是黑色的心我们心不轨这个想去害别人。
And of course, we do not have this black heart to try to harm other people.
但是我们要提防别人有这种黑色的心
We must know and reject those people who have this kind of black heart.
这种黑色的心是最可怕的，
Because this type of black heart is the most fearful.
因为他表面上对你很好一直跟你笑脸相迎
Because these people on the surface, they smile at you and they are very cordial.
那其实他这个笑里藏刀他也会把刀趁我们不注意的时候，他就杀了过来
But their smile hides a blade, and when you're not paying attention, that blade pierces you and kills you.
我们请看撒母耳记下
Let us turn to 2 Samuel.
撒母耳记下20章的第8节
2 Samuel chapter 20, verse 8.
第8节念到第10节
2 Samuel chapter 20, verses 8 to 10. 第八节, when they were at the large stone which is in Gibeon, Amasa came before them. Now Joab was dressed in battle armor. On it was a belt with the sword fastened in its sheath at his hips. And as he was going forward, it fell out. Then Joab said to Amasa, "Are you in health, my brother?" And Joab took Amasa by the beard with his right hand to kiss him. But Amasa did not notice the sword that was in Joab's hand. And he struck him with it in the stomach, and his entrails poured out on the ground. And he did not strike him again. Thus he died. Then Joab and Abishai, his brother, pursued Sheba, the son of Bichri.
我们就看到这个约押很没良心
And we see that Joab had no compassion at all.
约押他假装要跟亚玛撒说，哎呀，对他说你好还要跟他亲嘴。
Joab put on a pretense of greeting him and was about to kiss him.
结果他就趁着亚玛撒没有注意的时候就拿刀，他掉在地上的刀就拿起来刺入他的肚子。
But he took advantage of the time when Amasa was not noticing, and he struck him with the sword through the stomach.
结果亚玛撒他就死了。
And so Amasa died.
这个就是黑色的心。
And this is a black heart.
所以你们的年纪可以说还这个世界上的经历还不是很多
And so according to our age, maybe we do not have so much experience in the world.
但是你们要提防，在社会上要提防这种黑心的人。
We need to raise up our defenses against these types of people in society.
我们不去害别人，但是我们要 提防之心啊，这个提人之心不可无啊，不可以没有。
We need to not sabotage other people, but we also need to be aware of these people.
所以最不好是这种黑心啊，自己不做没关系，反正还要去害别人。
And so this kind of heart is the worst in order to hurt other people.
所以我们要提防，要注意。
And so we need to pay attention and take notice of these things.
那第三种的心是这个粉红色的心。
The third type of heart is the pink heart.
这种心呢，嘴很甜。
And so for this type of heart, the lips are very sweet.
没问题呀，我会帮你忙啊，我明天一定去你家帮你忙，去帮你装电脑，去帮你这个安装一个电脑的程式。
It's okay, it'll be no problem. I can come and help you tomorrow. I can come and help you set up your computer and install any programs that you need.
你有什么事情就告诉我了，有什么困难就打电话给我了。
If you have anything, just tell me. If you have any problems, then just pick up the phone and call me.
嘴巴很甜。
And so their lips are very sweet.
但是没有付出行动。
But they do not take action and effort.
我们叫 lip service 只是嘴巴在讲。
And so it's only lip service.
我们请看马太福音的21章。
Let us turn to Matthew chapter 21.
马太福音21章28节。
Matthew 21 verse 28.
马太福音21章28节。
Matthew 21, 28.
请你念到这个30节。
28 through 30. 28. But what do you think? A man had 2 sons, and he came to the first and said, Son, go work today in my vineyard. 29. He answered and said, I will not. But afterward he regretted it and went. 30. Then he came to the second and said likewise. And he answered and said, I go, sir. But he did not go.
那这边是有一个人，他有2个儿子。
So here is a man with 2 sons.
那他对大儿子说你去葡萄园工作大儿子就很直说我不去
He told his older son, go and work today in my vineyard. But then the son was very blunt and said, I will not.
但是后来他就懊悔了，他说去了。
But afterward he regretted it and went.
他对小儿子说你也去可是那个小儿子就说 Yes sir， 他就回答说父我去他说 Yes sir， 那个有的英文圣经说 Yes sir， 很有趣他就谈了，也对爸爸说 Yes sir。
And so for the second son, he said likewise. And then the second son said, Yes, sir, I will go, sir, father. Yes, sir.
那你看嘴巴是不是很甜他说 Yes sir。
Is he not speaking very sweet words? Yes, sir.
那你看有人告诉你说 Yes sir， 那你一定很高兴说哇他满嘴答应。
And if someone tells you yes, sir, then you will be very glad because he agreed so joyfully.
可是他确实不去，你看他不做了，他不去了。
But we see that he did not go.
他就是说给你好听的，说给你高兴而已的。
He only said words to make you happy.
他就是没有实际去付出行动。
So he did not, in practicality, go out and put out the work to do.
那第4种就是红色的心。
And so the fourth type of heart is the red heart.
这种就是你看红色就那个血用那个血去完成任务的。
And so red represents the blood that is used to complete the mission entrusted.
一样的故事那个好的撒玛利亚人的故事。
And so we return to the same story of the Good Samaritan.
那个好的撒玛利亚人呢，他没有说什么话，他就是付出行动就马上帮助这个受伤的人。
The Good Samaritan did not speak any words, but he immediately took action to help the man.
你看他把他所有的这种药品还有说什么酒啦、油啦，全部都拿出来帮助这个受伤者的人。
He took out his oil and wine and poured it on the wounds of the man.
自己用走路的把他扶上他所骑的这个牲口了，然后就驮到带他去旅社里面去休息。
And then he walked himself, but he put the man onto the animal and brought him to an inn.
而且所有的费用都是这个人出的。
And he even paid for all of the expenses.
我们看好的撒玛利亚人也不认识他，也不认识这个受伤者的人。
We see that the Samaritan did not even know the injured man.
但是他愿意为他而付出。
But he was willing to put effort out for him.
这个是用他的血汗用他的真心来付出，来帮助这个受伤的人。
He used his blood and his sweat and his heart to help this man.
这个在圣经里头叫做无为无为的爱
And this is a type of
，sincere love。
sincere love.
这种没有伪装，它真诚从内心发出来的爱
And so there is no deception, but it comes from the inner of heart.
这种爱在地面上就好像我们的父母亲一样。
And on this earth, this love can take in the form of our parents' love.
我们父母亲对我们的付出从来不求回报。
Because when our parents put out this effort for us, they never expect anything in return.
他们也没有说什么，他们看到我们有需要就来帮忙。
They do not say anything, but when they see that we have need, then they come and help us.
主耶稣也是有这种心
Jesus Christ also had this kind of heart.
为着我们然后他被钉十字架流血牺牲，为着我们的罪来被钉十字架。
For our sakes, he was crucified on the cross and sacrificed and shed his blood for our sins.
所以这种四个心圣经里头就在归纳4种心最好的我们要效法的就是这种红色的心。
And so there are these 4 types of hearts recorded in the Bible. And of course, the best, the one that we should imitate, is this red heart.
那其实这种爱呢，这个爱这种心是神给我们的一种赏赐。
But in truth, this kind of heart is given to us by God.
因为人是按着神的形象造的
Because man was created in the likeness of God.
所以都有这种的爱心
Therefore, we all have this type of love in us.
所以保罗他也说，我现在把那个最大的恩赐这个最伟大的恩赐来告诉你们。
And so Paul tells them that he gives them the greatest gift.
那这个 gift 这个是我们以中文的翻译说的礼物，好像我们送给人一个礼物一样。
And so it's a gift, it's like a present that you give to another.
我说神赐给我们这种礼物，是给每一个人都有，这个礼物就是爱。
And the gift that God gives to each and every one of us is love.
所以他赐给我们的父母亲，说我们的父母亲知道怎么来照顾我们，怎么爱我们。
He gave this love to our parents so they knew how to take care of us.
那赐给我们，所以我们也知道以后我们结婚生孩子以后，怎么去照顾我们自己的孩子。
He gave this gift to us so that when we are married and we have children, then we know how to take care of our children and love our family.
所以这个是神所赏赐的礼物的，每一个人都有。
This is a gift that God has bestowed upon each of us.
所以我们看马太福音的25章有山羊跟绵羊的比喻。
And so in Matthew chapter 25, there is the parable of the sheep and the goats.
这个爱没有爱心的话，你看神就审判他。
And if they did not have love, then the Lord judged them.
所以爱心是每一个人都有所以中国话有时候这个恻隐之心每一个人都有有的这种怜悯的心肠，大家都有的。
And so everyone has this heart, and so everyone has a heart of compassion.
只是我们有些时候被塞住了，被自私的心给塞住了。
But it is sometimes that this kind of love is clogged up by selfishness.
那爱这个是很重要的时候，我们一定要追求了。
But love is so important, and we must pursue it.
这个爱就是最后审判的标准。
And this is the last standard by which we will be judged.
所以在马太福音的25章里头那个3个比喻这个爱心就放在最后一个。
And so in the parable of the sheep and the goats in Matthew chapter 25, this is the last standard.
那保罗在哥林多前书13章里头也告诉我们说一个人只要没有爱心的话，那你事工做的再多，能力再多，也都归空了。
And in 1 Corinthians chapter 13, Paul says that no matter how much work you do, if you don't have love, then everything is in vain.
那爱就完全的律法。
But love fulfills the law.
有爱心的话那表示说他律法就可以遵守了，大家遵守都很好。
And so if you have love, then you can fulfill the law.
那他有爱心的话，他就不会去偷不会去抢不会去犯奸淫
Because you will not steal from other people, you will not rob people, you will not commit adultery.
然后他就会爱神
And you will love God.
因为爱也能够遮掩许多的罪。
Love can cover a multitude of sins.
所以爱对我们的生活是非常重要的。
Therefore, love is very important for our lives.
我们能够改善这个人跟人之间的关系。
It can change our interpersonal relationships.
说我们要怎么样爱，我们爱的对象到底是谁
So how do we love? Who are we supposed to love?
我们要先爱自己
We must first love ourselves.
圣经也说我们爱人如己所以圣经不反对我们也要爱自己。
The Bible records that we should love our neighbor as ourselves. That means it does not stop us from loving ourselves.
不爱自己的话，自己破坏自己的身体然后自己的身体不行的躺下去了，怎么能够去照顾别人呢？
If you do not love yourself and then you hurt your own body, then how do you have the strength to get up and help other people?
所以我们要好好的照顾自己的身体呀。
Therefore, let us take good care of our own bodies.
吃得好当然好，不是说山珍海味不是天天上餐馆吃得健康吃得健康，睡得好不要太晚睡要睡得好。
We eat well, we eat healthily, and then we sleep well.
那我们也要爱自己的灵魂
We must love our own souls.
不要去得罪神不要好像亚哈一样出卖自己的灵魂。
Do not wrong against God, and do not sell your soul to sin as Ahab did.
所以我们灵性也要坚强，才能够去帮助那些软弱的人
Because our spirituality must be strong if we wish to help other people.
不然自己都很不喜欢祷告，祷告没有力量，怎么去能帮助别人祷告呢？
If we do not like to pray and our prayer has no strength, then how can we pray for other people?
所以一定要先爱自己，包括爱自己的身体爱自己的灵魂。
Therefore, we must love ourselves, we must love our own bodies, we must love our own souls.
我们才能够爱自己的家人。
Then we can love our own family.
好像这个光光要照自己，然后再照亮自己的家人，再照亮到邻舍。
Because we are light. First, we shine the light. We shine the light upon our families, and then we shine the light on our neighbors as well.
然后才能够爱我们的敌人
And then we can love our enemies.
也能够才爱神
And then we can love God.
所以圣经说，我们只要不能够爱看得见的人，怎么能够爱看不见的神呢？
And the Bible tells us if we cannot love man whom we can see, then how can we love God whom we have not seen?
这人是看得见的，看得见的，我们天天在一起的亲人，我们自己的家人、自己的父母亲自己的兄弟姐妹都不爱的，怎么能够我很爱神？这是不可能的。
And so we can see our own brothers and sisters, we see the people around us, and if we do not love them, then how can we say that we love God?
那我们再来谈，那我们怎么来学习这个爱？
How do we learn to love?
我们要追求，当然要学习这个爱。
And so in order to pursue love, we must learn love.
因为我们平常有些时候可能没有注意的。
Sometimes we are not paying attention.
虽然这个爱是从神那边来的赏赐，
Even though love is a gift from God.
但是因为可能是自己的自私自己的私欲自己的忙碌所以就忽略了，就没有去注意。我们要爱自己，也要爱别人也要爱神。
Because of our desires or selfishness or our own busyness, then we forget to love God and forget to
所
love
以
other
第一个
people.
我们谈怎么样来学习那第一个我们学习主耶稣的榜样。
So how do we learn love? First, we must learn from Jesus' example.
我们请看约翰一书第3章16节。
Let us turn to 1 John 3:16.
约翰一书第3章16节。
1 John 3:16. Verse 16, by this we know love because he laid down his life for us, and we also ought to lay down our lives for the brethren.
这里有几个重点，就是说什么是爱，它都是因为主为我们舍命。你看到舍命这是他流血，我们刚所讲的那个红心红色的心这个整个心都是血都淌着血。
There are a few main points here, and it says the first one is that he laid down his life. So he laid it down. It is like how the heart is red because of blood, and he let his blood flow out for us.
那血就是代表一个人的生命所以主是用他的生命让牺牲生命来爱我们
Blood represents life, and Jesus Christ sacrificed his life in order to love us.
所以我们也要为我们弟兄姐妹来舍命
Therefore, we must also lay down our lives for the brethren.
就是用我们的心奉献，献上我们的心，用我们的心来爱别人。
To use our hearts to offer our hearts in order to love other people.
那第二个我们可以来学习旧约时代那些人物
The second, we can learn from the people in the Old Testament.
雅各爱拉结，
Just as how Jacob loved Rachel.
他爱到怎么样的一个地步呢？
To what degree did he love her?
我们请看创世纪29章20节。
Let us turn to Genesis chapter 29.
创世纪29章的20节。
Genesis chapter 29, verse 20. Verse 20, so Jacob served 7 years for Rachel, and they seemed only a few days to him because of the love he had for her.
哦，你看哦，爱到这个地步啊，7年呢，你看7年看如同几天。
He loved to this extent that 7 years seemed like only a few days to him.
啊，你看我注目我注目这个俄湾教会哈，那今年呢大概已经3年了哈，3年了。你看那么久啊，3年，对不对？
I've been the resident minister of Irvine Church for 3 years. 3 years is a long time.
当然3年也是很快呀哈。记得刚来不久，你看现在就已经过了3年。
But of course, 3 years goes by pretty quickly. I remember when I first came, and now it has already been 3 years.
那这个7年等于是你们大学哈，你们要读大学对4年，然后再读个3年的研究所哈。加上比如说你要读这个 PhD 啊哈，还是你要读 medical school 啊，那很长时间啊哈，大概7年。你看7年呢。
So 7 years is a very long time. Your bachelor's degree is only 4 years, and perhaps you do a master's for 3 years, or you go on for a PhD. But all of that is a long time.
但是7年对他来讲就好像几天而已啊，那时间过得非常快。
7 years seemed like only a few days to him, and time passed so quickly.
这是因为他深爱拉结。
Because he loved Rachel.
啊，那有的人说，哎呀，我跟你在一起好像度日如度年呐，很辛苦，跟你在一起非常辛苦。
So some people say, "Oh, the time I spend with you, the days feel like years."
啊，但是呢，这个当然不对啊，我们要像雅各啊、爱拉结一样啊，7年啊，好像是几天啊，时间过得真快，哎呀，什么时间很快就过去了。
But of course, this is not right, and we should be more like Jacob, where he served 7 years, but it only felt like a few days because of the love he had for Rachel.
啊，所以我们爱对方，我们爱自己的父母哈，爱自己的配偶，你们结婚又爱自己的配偶哈。 啊，爱弟兄姐妹啊，那就是这种啊。我们爱神也是一样，就几年之后，比如说，有的人呢当传道，可能已经当了大概半辈子，大概超过30年啊、40年啊、50年啊，但是对于他们来说，就好像几天，时间过得非常快。
Therefore, when we love our parents, when we love God, when we love our spouse, and we love our brothers and sisters, it should be the same. There are some ministers who have served full time for perhaps half their life already. It's already been 30 or 40 years, but they still feel like it has been only a few days and it feels short.
那所以我们可以从雅各来学习。
Therefore, we can learn from Jacob.
那也可以从以撒跟利百加他们来学习。
We can also learn from Isaac and Rebekah.
我们看创世纪24章。
Genesis chapter 24.
24章的我们来看26章第8节啊，26章第8节。
Let's turn to Genesis chapter 26, verse 8.
啊，请你看，请你念。
Verse 8. Now it came to pass when he had been there a long time that Abimelech, king of the Philistines, looked through a window and saw, and there was Isaac showing endearment to Rebekah, his wife.
哦，你看这个亚比米勒哈，因为本来以撒是告诉亚比米勒说，这个利百加是他的妹妹。
So at first, Isaac had told Abimelech that Rebekah was his sister.
但是后来亚比米勒一看，他们是夫妻嘛，他哪里是什么妹妹？他们简直是夫妻呀！
Abimelech took one look and saw that they were not siblings, they were actually a couple.
啊，为什么因为以撒也没有告诉他是这个利百加是他的妻子啊，但是亚比米勒为什么知道啊？他们两个是夫妻？
So Isaac did not tell Abimelech that Rebekah was his wife, but how did he know?
啊，就是因为以撒跟利百加戏耍就是一个亲密的动作。
Because Isaac was showing endearment to his wife, he was being intimate. He was having intimate action with her.
啊，比如说他们拉着手啊，
Maybe they were holding hands.
那拉手的话，你看你自己的妹妹怎么会拉手？只是说拉一会，小孩子可能会拉了，你到大人啊，你哥哥哪里会再拉妹妹的手拉那么久？
Would you hold hands with your sibling? Perhaps when you were small, the older brother would hold the little sister's hand, but once you grow up, you would no longer do that.
是吧？所以这个亚比米勒一看，哎呀，你们是夫妻嘛，你要骗我。
And so Abimelech took one look and said, "You are husband and wife. You have tricked me."
啊，所以结婚以后就是像这个以撒跟利百加一样啊，非常亲密，非常亲爱。
And so after marriage, then you should be like Isaac and Rebecca, who are very intimate and they love one another very much.
所以我们平常就是有出自这种内心啊，你自然就会有这种动作。你只要出自内心爱一个人的话，你爱自己的配偶。
And if you always love from your inner heart, then you can love your spouse like this.
好，那我们可以从路德在旧约时代那个路德记的那个路德来学习。
We can also learn from Ruth.
她深爱她的婆婆啊。
She loved her mother-in-law.
那我们可以从这个动物来学习。
We can learn from the animals.
因为人有些时候这个不乖的，就是说这个叛逆啊，有的呢不爱自己的父母亲呢。
Because sometimes people are naughty or they're rebellious, and so they will not love their own parents.
有的呢不爱自己的配偶啊。
Some people do not love their own spouse.
那我们看这些动物啊，哇，他们这个夫妻都很恩爱。
But we see the animals in the animal kingdom, the couples love one another very much.
有一阵子有2只鸭他们就飞来你们大概知道我们教会有一些草坪嘛，还有地很大，所以有一阵子经常飞来2只鸭。
And there's a period of time where there was a pair of ducks that would come to the grassy area in Irvine Church.
这2只鸭一只大一只小。
There was a big duck and a small duck.
那我就把他们称为是夫妻鸳鸯鸭一对。
And so I called them a couple of ducks.
那个小的就一直吃草，可能已经大了，应该不知道是母子还是夫妻，我也搞不清楚了。但是就是看到那个小的一直吃草，一直吃草的，低头一直吃草，但是那个大的就是没有吃就是一直在警戒一直在旁边一直警戒，一直看有没有人来呀，怎么样来保护这个比较小的。
And so the smaller duck was bowing its head and eating grass. And I did not know if it was a parent and a child or a husband and a wife duck, but the small duck just kept eating grass while the other one had its head up raised alert.
所以我们看，连这个动物都知道要爱对方，要爱不管是他的孩子还是说他的配偶。
So we see that even animals know how to love one another, whether it is their child or whether it is their spouse.
所以很多动物都是蛮有爱心的。
So many animals have a lot of love.
那何况是我们人呢？
How much more man?
那我们也可以从那个绵羊那边学习。
We can also learn from the sheep.
那绵羊它最主要特性就是它会观察观察这个人有没有需要他被关他的生病他口渴他没有衣服穿都经过长时间观察他很注意看有需要的话，他马上去帮助他。
And the special characteristic of the sheep is that they observe. They observe whether people are hungry or if they were thirsty or they needed clothes or were in prison.
不是说看一下子那眼睛一瞄就不能够发现一定要长时间注意他的身体的状况注意他的起居比如说以后你们的父母亲年纪大了你要是观察人家父母亲都不好意思告诉自己的孩子都怕孩子麻烦，所以你们当子女的就是一定要观察自己父母亲的需要。
They do not skim once and call it a day, but they keep observing and observing for the needs of others. And so when we are getting older and our parents are also getting older, sometimes they will not want to say what they need. But as children, then we can observe and look for what they would need.
不用等他们开口我们就知道父母亲你看今天怎么样讲话比较有无力，你讲话平常讲话都嗓子很大，今天怎么嗓子关小了？
We do not need to wait for them to open their mouths to speak what they need, but we can say, oh, maybe today your voice seems a lot smaller than usual.
那就是有问题你就去关心他今天妈妈爸爸你今天到底是身体有什么问题是吧？
So is there a problem or are you feeling okay?
你走路走不稳，那就是注意就是看自己的父母亲这个外表的形态。
Or perhaps they are not walking steadily, so you can pay attention to their physical appearance and their
就
conduct.
比较瘦了，比较胖
Are they skinny or are they fatter?
我们要观察，要细心观察。
Let us observe carefully.
说我们一定要，这是跟我们每天日常生活都有相关联的。
And so this has much to do with our daily lives.
我们就爱的话，就能够得到神的祝福，
And if we love, we can gain the blessings of God
也能够遮掩我们自己很多的罪。
and can cover a multitude of our own sins.
最幸福的事情就是能够帮助别人。
But what is most blessed is that we can help other people.
帮助别人为快乐之本，帮助别人才会得到快乐。
Because only when we help other people can we be happy.
有付出才能够得到回报，才能够得到快乐。
Only when we give can we receive and have happiness.
他说，但愿我们都能够追求爱。
And so I hope we can all pursue love.
那我们现在用20分钟时间来祷告。
Now we will use 20 minutes to pray.
一样再继续帮助这个 NYTS 和 PMVP 来祷告。
And in the same way, let us continue praying for our NYTS and our PMVP.
帮助这个疫情来祷告，帮助我们的国家来祷告。
And pray for our pandemic and pray for our country.
一起祷告。
Let us all pray together.